Hello, this is Lan. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 coolest quirks in My Hero Academia. Keep in mind that this is entirely my opinion, so forgive me if it doesn't match up with your taste, but without further ado, let's get into the top 10. Number 10, Decay. User, Tomura Shigaraki. Decay allows Tomura to destroy anything his hands touch, making it crumble to dust. Whether the target is organic or not, Decay will work without fail. This quirk is extremely lethal against living beings, having their flesh rot away if hit by it. The speed of the disintegration is varied from slow to almost immediate, and if a victim does not amputate the decaying body part, the quirk's effects will eventually spread through their whole body, killing the target. Number 9, Permeation. User, Mirio Togata. Permeation allows Mirio to phase his body through anything solid or liquid, including the ground itself. Mirio is also able to restrict the effects of his quirk to individual body parts. Mirio's quirk also features a strange property. Whenever he deactivates permeation while phasing through any solid object, such as the underground, his body instantly gets ejected back to the surface of said object due to Mirio's own body mass being unable to overlap with any pre-existing mass. Thanks to rigorous training, Mirio was actually able to master instant transportation through this application, being able to adjust the direction and positioning of his falling body in order to control the trajectory of his ejection. Mirio gives the illusion that he is somehow teleporting because of his apparent disappearance and reappearance at different spots, which happens almost immediately. Number 8. Half Cold, Half Hot. User, Shoto Todoroki. Half Cold, Half Hot allows Shoto to generate ice from the right side of his body and flames from the left side of his body. This gives Shoto two powerful separate methods of combat that he could use. Using the right side of his body, Shoto can drastically lower temperatures and freeze anything he touches. He is able to swiftly freeze entire buildings and streets, as well as create large waves of ice instantaneously. From his left, Shoto can drastically increase temperatures and release scorching hot flames. He is able to shoot out consuming streams of fire or protective short waves of it. Number 7, Blood Control. User, Vlad King. This quirk allows Vlad King to manipulate his own blood and cause it to flow and harden in a way that he can control. The blood appears to be ejected from his gloves, which are connected to tubes attached to various parts of his body. Once the blood is out in open air, Vlad King can harden it to immobilize foes, such as the Dabby clone during the villain raid in the Forest Training Camp arc. He can also reabsorb his blood back through his gloves if he so wishes. I think that Vlad King is a character with a very cool quirk. Unfortunately, he doesn't get much screen time in the anime, but in my opinion, his quirk deserves to be on this list for sure. Number 6, Manifest. User, Tamaki Amajiki. This quirk allows Tamaki to manifest the characteristics of the things he eats using his body. So basically, whatever he eats, he can transform into it, as long as it's still in his system, of course. He can create multiple transformations at once and seems to be able to make these alterations from anywhere on his body simultaneously. He can also use his quirk with objects that are not necessarily food items, such as crystals. This suggests that his quirk will work with anything so long as he is able to consume it in some way. However, he is only able to manifest items he currently has in his system, so he must eat his repertoire every day. So far, he has been shown transforming his body parts into a plant, clam, chicken wings, a cow hoof, a swordfish, pincer hands, crystal armor, and of course, with any anime, comes the tentacles. I mean, a lot of these transformations are pretty ridiculous and are pretty goofy, but I still find his quirk extremely cool and creative. Number 5, Foresight. User, Sir Night-Eye. This quirk activates by first touching a target and then making eye contact with them. Once these conditions have been met, Night-Eye gains the ability to accurately predict all of the target's future moves and actions for an entire hour. While his quirk is in use, Night-Eye is capable of watching the target's future lifetime from a third-person perspective that showcases the targets themselves and their immediate surroundings in a manner similar to a flashback. Night-Eye does not appear to have a limit to how much he is able to see into the future, being able to foresee events that are years beyond present time. The only drawbacks to this ability is that Night-Eye is incapable of giving a precise date to when said events will happen, thus having to rely on rough estimates. And once Foresight is activated, Night-Eye requires a 24-hour interval before he is able to activate it again. Number 4, Brainwashing. User, Hitoshi Shinzo. Brainwashing allows Hitoshi to assume control of anyone who responds to one of his statements, forcing them to do what he says. Victims will feel dazed when being controlled, but will remain largely aware of their current state of being brainwashed, despite looking completely spaced out. Those who end up brainwashed will be forced to follow all of Hitoshi's commands. It is shown that he can control more than one person at once, but this has to be done individually. Number 3, Dark Shadow. User, Fumikage Tokoyami. Dark Shadow grants Tokoyami a shadowy monster-like being within his body that can materialize and dematerialize at any moment. Dark Shadow is always connected to Tokoyami's body even when it moves far away from him. It has a variety of special moves like Black Ink, where Tokoyami equips Dark Shadow onto himself, wearing it like a suit of armor, Piercing Claw of the Dusk, and Gloom of the Black Arm. Also, just recently in the manga, he devised a new technique called the Black Fallen Angel. Tokiyami wraps himself up in Dark Shadow's arms and allows himself to be carried by it, while Dark Shadow flies by flapping its arms as wings. Number 2. Rewind. User Eri. Rewind is the result of an extremely rare mutation and bears no resemblance to any quirk on either side of Eri's family lineage. Rewind allows Eri the ability to bring back an individual's body to a previous state. Those that are in contact or in the vicinity of Eri at the moment of the activation start having their bodies rewound to previous states, undoing or bringing back injuries or modifications from the present or the past. She is capable of reverting people back to a point before they even existed, effectively killing them. However, because of her young age and inexperience as well as lack of information, Eri is unable to properly control her ability. But you can only imagine how good this quirk would be if she knew how to use it to its fullest potential. Like, it would literally be one of the most broken quirks in all of My Hero. Number 1. Overhaul. User Kai Chisaki. Through his quirk, Chisaki is able to disassemble and then reassemble anything he makes physical contact with, turning it into its original state or a completely different one. With it, Chisaki is capable of instantly killing people or destroying body parts, ripping body parts away and fusing them to foreign objects, curing all of a person's chronic ailments, and possibly much more. He is also capable of using his quirk on his surroundings, such as the ground, and rearranging it into the most favorable terrain for himself. Chisaki can also use Overhaul on himself as an inward version of his power. By disassembling himself and another person and then reconstructing both bodies at the same time, Overhaul can combine elements of the other body into his own. In that state, he becomes a monstrous version of himself, increasing his already great strength and speed. This quirk is number 1 for me because of how many different ways Overhaul can be used. It's already an extremely powerful quirk, but it has so many variations that can help out Overhaul in like almost any situation. And it's just straight up badass. So that basically wraps up this video. Those were my top 10 coolest quirks from My Hero. Feel free to share your opinions down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.